Now, with our multi-user transaction systems, you may have to manage parallel user access to the stored data that is being controlled by the database management system. That means that we have to have some sort of online data integrity requirements, and many of the DBMSs do that with what's called ACID, A-C-I-D. The A stands for atomicity. And now, from the perspective of the user, what we expect with this is that if they perform a transaction, that we expect that it happens 100% or not at all. And I've made the example, right? If I buy a book online from a bookseller and they take money out of my account to pay for the book, I'm kind of expecting that the order was placed for the book, it was removed from inventory, sent to shipping, and that I'm going to get the book. If they took my money and I didn't get the book, I'm thinking that didn't happen 100%, and that's not my expectations. We want the transaction to be 100%. The C in ACID is for consistency. That means all integrity conditions in the database should be maintained within those transactions. Isolation is the I of ACID. Each transaction should be isolated from others. And that's important, right? Because if I'm in the process of ordering a book and some other customer is ordering books, I don't want, for whatever reason, those transactions to be crossed and I end up paying for the other person's books, or the other person gets the books I paid for. Durability is the D, and that means that the transaction has been reported back to the user as complete. Then that means that any change in the database will survive any subsequent hardware or software failures. And that's an important process, right? So that means if a transaction happens, there is a guarantee that if immediately after that transaction was finished, as soon as it was done and we said, boom, that is 100% done, and then the hard drive crashes, that information should be retrievable. At least we're going to hope it's going to be retrievable. Part of the testing process that you would use in auditing involves testing the effectiveness of application controls. That means you should be analyzing the application program controls or selecting and monitoring the data process transactions, or both of them. One concept we see is what's called continuous online auditing, and it's becoming more and more important in today's e-business because it provides a method for an auditor to be able to collect evidence on system reliability when the processing takes place. So, as it sounds, we're continuously auditing the system, and we're doing it online, meaning that while the system is running, we are gathering this information. And that can be done in the presence of logs or other types of transaction items that we want to be able to keep track of. There are 5 types of automated evaluation techniques that you can use that would work with a continuous online auditing approach. The first, long name, System Control Audit Review, File, and Embedded Audit Modules. Okay, what does that mean? That means this technique is going to use embedded, specially written audit software to allow monitoring. That means code written into this entire process. Snapshots. That's best described as taking a picture of the processing path of the transactions. And usually these transactions, especially ones we want to track, are going to be tagged with identifiers that can be tracked to a snapshot. Audit books is a technique that allows embedded hooks in the application that can function as red flags. The integrated test facility is a technique where dummy entity information can be set up and then can be used to make transactions, and basically testing the results of those transactions to see that we're getting the consistency in the processing and the accuracy as well. Continuous and intermittent simulation is a process where we can look at the relevant transaction, and the computer can then simulate the instructions and execution of the application, again, testing to make sure that it's working for us.